Well, we're live now at the normal scheduled time. So hopefully people get the right message. Welcome to the Gordox Pub. We make stuff. We do the things.
You make stuff.
That's right. It's for kids. Have you ever seen the Hudsucker Proxy?
Yep.
So you know, it's for kids.
That's one of those comedies you either get or don't.
Yeah. But it's a great film. I highly recommend
It if you get it. That's what I'm saying. I have to qualify it that way because some people don't get it. I don't get how they can't, but you know. Well, I guess I can get how they can't. Because he's running around with a circle and he's all like, this is going to be the greatest thing. And everybody's like, it's a circle, but they don't get that that's kind of what the humor is.
Yeah.
So because I decided that picture looks a little bit like Audrey Hepburn,
Okay.
I grabbed the face does, the eyes, the way the eyes were, the way the smile was, the way the
Okay.
cheeks are. Facial structure is a lot like it. I'm not drawing portraits of her. I'm using her as reference because, and actually this one's more endowed than she is. So, but I grabbed a whole bunch day before yesterday of different expressions. Like, and it's weird because she's got a couple of smiling expressions, and she's got this head tilt that she does to be sultry. And the rest of them are actually more expression less than expression. But somehow in that expression lessness,
Okay.
she manages to give I'm an unimpressed look. And I like that. I'm trying to change the angle a little bit so that not all the facial shots are the same angle.
Okay.
Now, normally I'm drawing and you're like, why don't you tell them what you're doing?
Right. All right.
When I'm telling them what I'm doing, and you're like, yeah, right?
Okay. All right. Good. Yeah, all right. I was actually doing some research on cows, oddly enough. Because
You were researching cows?
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to make sure that I heard you right. So it's about the Minotaur thing?
Yeah, I wanted to know about horns in particular.
Yeah. A lot of different kinds, huh?
Yeah. 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 It's also one of those things that normally I start asking questions about 10 minutes before bed that, keep me awake. Like, I'll lay down and then have the question, and then I'm like, well, should I just get up and Google it real fast? Then I don't. But I think about it.
Should you just get up and Google it real fast, or are you thinking like, I should get up and Google it real fast, but I'm not going to?
Right, because I'm like, I'm not going to get up and write. It'll be there tomorrow. And then I'm always like, but what if I forget by tomorrow?
I
Is
do
that
that.
important?
I do that. I'll think of something and be all like, oh, that's exactly what I need. And then, the next day I'm like, oh shit, what the hell was it?
Yeah.
Like, for instance, for the story that I'm working on, the novel that I'm working on, that's mine,
Yeah.
the one that I've submitted the last couple times.
Yeah. Okay.
You don't really see a fantastic element in it in the first part. I mean, there's a lot going on in the first part, but you don't really see a fantastic element.
Yeah.
And I was like, other than, some references to magic and fighting with swords, do I even have one? So I got to thinking about it, and then I was like, I know what it's going to be, and that's because, folks, I outlined this whole thing before I started. So the element that everything is centering on that nobody actually knows about yet
Yeah.
is going to be a fantastical element. I asked Mark for some help while I was working on the outline.
Yeah.
Just some troubleshooting help because I couldn't get a hold of anybody else. Like, I tried you and it was too late for you. And I tried Jay, and if it's too late for you, it's too late for Jay. So, but Mark and I do the Wordle thing, so.
I played Wordle. And, I don't know, it kind of annoyed me. Because, I don't know, I got some word that could be like I had enough of the letters to recognize like 7 or 8 different words. And I'm guessing the first letter of all of them. And, it's just it's a guessing game at that point. And
well, we do have, like, he and I both have a method.
Oh yeah,
and it's been fairly successful. Like, I think my max run is like 270 or something like that.
Yeah.
But both of us start with a word that uses, like, so if you are going on Wheel of Fortune, right?
Right.
And you get to the final round where it's just you and the board and Pat, right?
Right. Not Pat, not anymore. It'll be
you know what?
interest now.
I'm using it as an example, and that's not a too far-fetched example. He asked you for so many consonants and so many vowels, correct?
Right.
All right. So the most common vowels and consonants are R, S, T, L, N, E.
Right.
That's you know, and then it's so what I do is my first word is rouse, R-O-U-S-E, and that uses 3 vowels and 2 of the most common letters, or 2 of the most common consonants. And Mark, I don't remember his word. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
So you think it's better to find the vowels first?
He starts with about. Well, what it does is it tells you whether or not those most common ones are there, if it's gold, and if you happen to get it right, if you start off with 3 vowels, chances are you're going to get 1. Then it's a question of whether you get it in the right place. Like we both have common first and second words, and then after that, they pretty much use up most of the vowels. Like I might have a Y after it, but the next R-O-U-S-E, then the next is A and I, and then Y is the last thing that I worry about. The trick is whether or not it's going to be a double consonant in it.
Yeah, that also annoys the crap out of me.
Because if it's a double consonant and you just put it in once, it only tells you that you're right that letter's in there.
Right.
So generally, before I start trying double consonants, I'll get to the 4th try. And sometimes I'll break from that if I can't find a word, like if I find vowels in certain places and consonants that should be like my next guess with them, and it's not there, then I start thinking about double consonants. But yeah, it's been pretty decent of a method for me. And him, like I said, he starts with about, which is same thing. 3 vowels and 1 of the most popular letters. But yeah, I mean, what we do is like we don't tell each other the answer or whatever. We just we're just keeping track of the stats, and if either one of us gets a big streak and then loses it all, we're like, oh, that sucks. Yes, just support.
Yeah.
I don't really play games, so.
I was playing Call of Duty earlier with my son.
Yeah, I don't really play those kinds of games. My son would love it if I did, probably.
Man, that's one of the reasons why I do it. Not because of your son, but because of my son.
Yeah, I get it. I'm just saying, like, my son, but the thing is like, everything is games for him. If he's not at work and he's not drinking, it's some kind of game.
Well,
matter of fact, even if he is drinking, it's some kind of game.
Yeah.
So it's, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, it kind of disgusts me to see him let life go right by so that he can play like World of Tanks, and I absolutely hate World of Tanks. It's a fucking scam. You can't win it. There's no winning World of Tanks. So you're buying $50 upgrades and $50 upgrades and $50 upgrades, but you can't win the fucking game.
Yeah, that sounds like a scam.
Yep. But there's a lot of people that sucked into it. They spend money so they can change what their tanks look like, and whatever. I'm playing with my friends. Oh, so, that's the most expensive fucking sandbox I've ever seen. He's been paying fucking $50 and pretty much $50 to $60 a month for better part of 10 years. Like, you could be driving a brand new car.
Yeah, really.
Of course,
it's one of those things.
First, but,
When my boys started getting jobs, which I was like, please remember you're in high school. That's your main job. You only get 4 years. Do the high school thing. So if you want to get it, like I was just dead set against them having jobs during high school because I had a job, my wife had a job, and I felt like we both kind of missed out on a lot of things because we had to go to work. And I didn't want my boys to have to be that way. So they weren't working all that many hours, so it's okay. Because I was working like 36 hours a week during high school. So is my wife. It's dumb. And my wife might have needed the money more than me, but I did not really need that money. My boys don't really need that money. But, they get money and then they want to go out and spend it on something stupid. And I'm like, well, they earned it. It's their money. It's not my money. And I'm sure the stuff that I buy, they tend to think is stupid too. So just kind of, I try to get them to do stuff like be productive, not just, I tell them be a producer, not just a consumer. So they do stuff. Like my son, it was a crappy chair, but he built a chair today. He had scrap wood. Why not build a chair? All right, cool. Thaddeus is always drawing or working with Legos. Although I asked him to make me something with Legos, he's like, "No, I can't do that." And I'm like, "I can." So I got to find one particular type of piece, and I have the money. I can go through and just order the pieces I want. Because I got me an idea. I think it would be fun. I was like, I don't have to have my kid build Lego stuff. I can do it. Did it for years without him. You know that I would probably say the main set piece from chapter 1 of my novel? The vault.
Is the vault the set piece, or what he gets from the vault, or
the vault's the set
vault
piece.
Located?
Yeah, where the score is located, I think is the main set piece.
Okay.
And I think I'm going to try to make it Lego. So.
Do you map it?
No, I haven't done anything yet because I got to figure out how to build the thing I need to build. But
I said to map it.
What?
You said you're gonna build that set piece, and I said to map it.
No, just to build it. Just because I want to see what it looks like. I just want to build it. I want to play with Legos, so I'm going to build it.
Oh, that's the key right there.
But, and this is the fun part, I'm going to see if I can turn it into marketing materials. And therefore, if I ever made money, I can claim it as an expense.
So you do know
Probably.
that as a writer, you can claim it anyway, right? Once you start getting published, you can technically write off your cable bill. Because you can be asked at any time to write for X amount of shows. You can be asked to write for Star Trek. You can be asked to write for
So it's all research
Wiki.
material.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what Kevin Anderson does.
It's all market research.
Well, it's not marketing research; it's character research and story. Story
Okay.
collation. I don't know. It's making sure that everything is in line with the story and the current canon. So, if you were asked to write for Star Wars, you could write off your Disney Plus subscription.
Yeah. I would love to write for Star Wars. It would be good then.
Well, you might write for Star Wars if they're paying you $100,000 for that book.
That'd be nice.
You're not going to get the rights to it anyway. So.
Yeah, I know. Feel better?
No.
Oh, sorry.
Well, it probably would have felt better, except that when that relieved gas, there was another pain that flared up. You know how it is. Older you get.
Oh golly, I could have watched the new episode of Acolyte. Missed it. Golly. I was talking with a friend of mine yesterday, and he's been enjoying the Acolyte. He, he
I have heard some awful reviews so far.
well, I take those with a grain of salt only because
Actually, they're saying the same thing that you were saying, but they just said it in a more blunt way.
well, that's fine, and I always take things into because some of those guys, that's how they make their living is by just bashing other people's property. But
No, these are not those.
okay, but I'm just saying.
I'm not talking about I'm not talking about guys that are doing YouTube channels that get paid to do that shit. I'm
Okay.
talking about guys that are writers that are like they're saying this is the final straw. Like I keep trying and like
Well, yeah, that's. I mean, I pointed out some things that I thought were problematic to my friend. He's like, yeah, like you just hadn't noticed it. I said, well, once you start noticing it, you're going to keep noticing it because it's all over the place.
yeah, the
And
problem is once you start you can't not.
yeah, I mean, part of it's also just boring so far. Just it's like it's kind of meh. Part of the problem is I don't think they understand how to construct a proper mystery or suspense, and you know, being Harvey Weinstein's assistant, I don't understand how that makes you qualified to write and direct a Star Wars property, but oh well.
Well, I wouldn't think that it would, so certainly not a girl power show.
Oh God, there was a post I saw earlier. It was I forget who all they listed, but it was like She-Hulk, some like oh I forget. It was all female characters though from Marvel. Like, wouldn't this be a badass Avengers? I was like, no, just no, just no. That would not be no, no. I think you can make a satire piece. I got to think about it a little bit, but I think you could combine Hulk with the word woke, and basically be the Disney Plus She-Hulk series, because that's all it was. But I mean, it would be just, I think, ridiculing everything that is wrong with the people who want to subvert your expectations and piss off the fan base. You had a different design for her anyway, didn't you?
What's that?
You had a different design for her anyway, didn't you?
Different design for her?
Isn't that the chick?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about something else.
Okay.
Like I'm talking about in that last panel featuring her, or the one that's
okay.
The big reveal panel.
Are you going to hint at the big? Because that was the only reason why I had that design in there, was to, it wasn't completely coming out of left field, or when it did just come out of left field, they're like, oh, I see what those were, like that kind of thing. Like,
well, what I don't want to do is mimic something that's been done before.
That's fine by me.
Or at least done before a lot.
Okay, that's fine by me. I have no problems with anything.
And it's not really changing her. It's just changing the structure of creature she is.
Okay.
And that's not even much. Like, so, you've seen what I drew.
Right.
I don't want to do like 4 panels opening up on her face, and even the tattoos doesn't make sense like that. But there's something else. Like, I was looking through other people's artwork over the weekend. Or the week, whatever you want to say.
Huh?
I'm always, there's not a time that I stop looking at other people's stuff. So,
okay.
I do have ideas. Like, I'm looking at something and I'm going,
Right.
wow, that would really be cool if we did something along those lines or of that nature. And I still want to have her face open up, just not like that. I just want to do it from the tattoos down.
Okay. That's fine by me.
What I don't want to do is show her teeth until I do.
Okay.
Because I want her to have some monstrous inside of her mouth. Like, something to make you jump when you look at that grill.
Oh God, there was this thing on the Fallout show. Did you ever watch the Fallout show?
I have not yet. I'm debating on whether or not I want to, actually.
It's not bad at all. But
Well, that's not that's not so much why I'm debating on it.
yeah,
I'm debating on it more because it's video game based, and
yeah, I understand that.
and also I'm kind of leery of it um, influencing what I think about what we're doing currently.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, this isn't really a spoiler because you won't know it. Like you won't see it till you see it, if you see it. But there's a creature in the game that has this giant mouth, right? But it's instead of like rows of teeth like a shark, it's rows of fingers that are just like trying to pull you in. And they have fingernails and stuff. Ugh! It's just real good body horror. So, very cool. Apparently, not exactly game accurate because my one son was like, "That's not how it is in the game." And I'm like, "Who cares? It's awesome." But you know,
Right. Well,
everyone has their own.
yeah, who
thing.
cares? Because they make it evident who cares, right?
Right. I mean, for me, I just figure the game is the game, the show is the show, and you know, they don't have to necessarily link up. You know, as long as you get the general feel of it.
Well, I definitely get them saying, that's not right because if they're invested in it.
It's a mutation on something, whatever it is. It looks kind of like an axolotl in the TV show, but it's. I saw it in the game the other day because my son was playing, and I was like, so it was close enough where I was like, oh, is that what that's supposed to be? And he's like, yeah, I think so. And I'm like, okay, so I can kind of see where it comes from, and I'm like, I don't think the game design was better. It's just like slightly different. It's more salamander-y than it is axolotl, but I'm not a purist when it comes to the films. As long as it makes sense, and as because sometimes you can't do it in a film because it's just not going to work. Or, if you have an actor who's really good, like Fredo in The Godfather, the guy who played him was
John
the wrong
Cavazella?
height. I don't remember,
Oh,
but he was in the book. He's way bigger. Like it's really not a very. Like it's the wrong body for that character, but he's such a great character in the film. Like the actor's great. I don't mind. I'm like, all right, that's different.
yeah, John Cazale, that's what it is.
Like I can enjoy it both ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think he only was in like 3 major movies before he died. He was in Deer Hunter too.
Yeah.
And Al Pacino said that he had the most influence on Al Pacino's acting career. He said he was just such a brilliant actor. And, it's hard not to see it once Al Pacino puts it in that perspective, but
I think he's a great actor. But I thought he was great in The Godfather, and that's why I'm saying I don't mind the difference in the book. It doesn't detract from either one. So
honestly, I read that book a long time ago, and I love that book, but I he must have been a really good actor because I never even noticed. Like, I thought the cast, except for I think maybe the only one that I didn't really dig was the guy who played Tom Hagen.
Oh yeah,
Is it uh what's his name?
I know who you're talking about because I know. Yeah.
Well, he always sounds the same. So that
Robert Duvall.
yep, Robert Duvall. Like no matter what he's in, if he's in a western, if he's in it just he was in what is it, that Lions movie where it was him and
Oh yeah, I know you're talking about. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
I think it was him and Michael Caine and the guy who played Anakin Skywalker, the kid who played Anakin Skywalker. Jake, whatever his name is.
Oh, let's just look at his second-hand logins. That's what it's called. Haley Joel Osment was Walter the Young, and there's Josh Lucas as the adult Walter.
Yeah, that's the kid though.
Yeah. Josh Lucas is the adult one. He's
Yeah,
the adult
but
kid.
it's the kid when he's grown up, but it's not the older guys. It's Robert Duvall and I think Michael Caine.
Yeah. Which I thought those two were great.
Well, together, yeah.
Yeah.
But apart, like Robert Duvall just plays the same guy. It's like the same character. It's like watching Jack Nicholson, except for Jack Nicholson has more fire under his ass. I mean, Jack Nicholson rarely plays anything but Jack Nicholson. You know what I mean?
I mean, I agree with you about Jack Nicholson. I just don't know if I think that about Robert Duvall. So
I would love to be shown something that I don't think he's just Robert Duvall in. Like that movie, I think it was the chemistry between the two, but it still was Robert Duvall playing Robert Duvall.
I think he's angrier and more physical there, whereas
like I don't know.
It's all right. It's okay.
I don't think it just. I just don't think it changes him from being Robert Duvall for me. Like there are certain actors that they kind of blend into the role.
Yeah, you don't see them; you see the role.
Right.
There are other actors, you don't see the role; you see them.
Yeah. Well, and I think that there's two schools of acting like that. You got your Jack Nicholsons and your Samuel Jackson, and you're not expecting to see anybody else. Christian Slater. That's what you're expecting to see, right?
Right.
But then you've got Gary Oldman, who can be anything. I mean, like he's proved that he can be anything, and sometimes you don't even recognize him.
Bryan Cranston is that for me.
What's that?
Bryan Cranston, guy from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I know who that is. I don't know if I've seen enough of his stuff to.
Well, if
make
you've seen
that much of
Malcolm
a
in the
difference.
Middle and you've seen Breaking Bad,
Huh?
trust me, watch Malcolm in the Middle and Breaking Bad. Just
Well, I've seen it. Like I've seen both of them, and like I didn't really like Breaking Bad. The whole premise was not for me. And I know I'm in the minority in that, but but
so I know this is cool
I think there's a whole lot of difference between him and that in either one of them, but I think I saw a little bit of difference when I saw him playing the updated version of Total Recall.
Oh, okay.
He had a little bit of a different feel to him. And there was something else I watched him in that, like Tom Cruise. He, you see Tom Cruise and you automatically think, oh, that's just Tom Cruise, but he's pulled some fast ones that you don't recognize until you know it later on. So I mean, that I always find interesting. Eddie Murphy is probably the greatest character actor alive. He can become pretty much anyone and anything.
Okay.
He's proved it, like with what is it, the Crumps or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Like everyone at the table except for the one character that Arsenio Hall played. He's done that in a lot of movies where he's like a white old Jewish guy, and it's like all kinds of stuff. He manages to pull pretty much everything he wants to pull off.
Okay. I'm not going to say you're wrong. I'm just going to say I think we may have different opinions on him, but that's okay.
On Eddie Murphy?
Yeah, well, being the greatest
as an actor,
as being the greatest character actor, yeah, I don't see that.
Character actor, because the character actor is trying to put the character first, and I think he did a real good job on that in a lot of films.
Okay.
I'm not saying that his movies are the best. Like that's not strictly true, but like you can put him, he can play anything. He can play a woman, he can play a guy, he can play an old white Jew, he can play a young black guy on the street. He can play pretty much. He's a very versatile actor, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that he's the best actor, but as far as character actor, he's pretty brilliant.
Okay.
And I'm not saying there aren't other character actors, but there are far more actors that are trying to get their face and their personality known than trying to further the character. John Cazale, he was a great character actor. He didn't play Fredo the same way as he played in The Deer Hunter. I guess he was like on Broadway or something before that. Who do you think is a great character actor?
Christian Bale actually is pretty good. Yeah, the fact that I'd say he's good. As in people who are still acting relatively currently, because Daniel Day-Lewis is still alive and can still be in a movie, but he always retires after every movie. So
yeah, well, Daniel Day-Lewis is a great example too.
Yeah, I mean,
he is one of the greatest character actors as well.
But
they definitely come from different backgrounds. But I agree totally. He's a great character actor.
The thing with Eddie Murphy, I'm not saying he's a bad actor because he's not. But I mean, a lot of that's prosthetics with him, and
well, yeah, it doesn't matter if prosthetics as long as you don't know it's him.
I mean, he's kind of playing the stereotype. They're relatively quick bits. So, and I'm not saying he's bad at all because he's not. I think he chose some bad films. I think if he had gotten the right parts, I think he'd be a lot more famous than what he is now. So I would say he's probably one of the least appreciated character actors because I don't know. He's written off as being the
Maybe that's why I was giving him credit.
Well, that's fine. I mean, I can, he's just, yeah, he just got the bad role. Just
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm not saying all of his movies are great, but like, all right, so he carries a lot of those movies.
Oh yeah,
and there's no question of it. But like some of the movies, like I'm trying to remember, but he wasn't the first choice for Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, I think that was originally supposed to be Stallone, wasn't it?
Yeah, maybe it was somebody like that.
But
Yeah, I think it was. I think it
Cobra.
was Stallone because Stallone had to have he had some kind of deal where they had to pay him while they were deciding too.
Nice. Well, anyway. I mean, yeah, I think if Eddie Murphy got the right part, I think he could definitely become more of an acting powerhouse. But just kind
Well, I think by the time that those opportunities came around, they just gave him to Will Smith.
yeah, that's kind of the problem. So yeah, which is kind of ironic. The comedian just didn't have very good timing. So
Yeah, well, it wasn't his fault because you're talking about Hollywood, and
oh, I know.
I have seen so much on Hollywood lately and how they do wrong. How they when I say do wrong, I'm not like talking about uh, doing somebody particularly wrong, but how they'll put something in production hell and
Right.
they won't have intelligent people backing stuff. Did you watch that? You watch that Orson Scott Card thing I sent you?
No, no, I did not.
I was gonna say I don't think you did because if you're
I did not. Since I don't know what you're talking. Storycraft Online. That thing.
It was no, that's one of his. Basically, it's a boot camp that was recorded.
Okay, or the Ben Shapiro one.
Yep, the Ben Shapiro one.
No, I did not. Watch this. I guess I just wasn't paying attention to that. I'll give those a look tomorrow.
The Ben Shapiro one, it's not the full one because you have to go to
Yeah.
Daily Wire to watch the rest of it and be a member
Yeah.
or whatever, but it's enough. And it's like when I saw it, like because I saw it on OSC's site because I went there, looking for that the Three Grunts link.
Yeah.
And I found both of those that class, and I checked out the class, and I watched that Ben Shapiro thing. It's actually prior to the 2016 election.
Okay.
It's relevant because they mentioned some stuff about Trump in the election, and actually it's in 2016 he's talking about trying to draw in talking at the same time. Not working.
Your lips don't move when your hands do.
Well, it's not just my hands; it's my concentration.
Yeah, I know.
I'm using a couple of different reference pictures, and they're lit differently. That's kind of why I'm using the two different ones.
Yep.
One is very much more shadowed than the other.
Yeah.
So I like that fact, that idea. That's nice. Trying to move the reference picture over on my desktop and it wants to seed it.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, no, I don't want you to seed it. I don't want it to be taking up the whole screen. Just in case somebody says something. I know, it's rare, but still, it's possible.
They do what they can.
Hmm?
They do when they have something to say. There.
You felt called out, I guess.
Oh. You're blurry. Ah, it's better. So, yesterday, I was with a friend of mine, and uh, we were talking about Shiv, right? And I told him about the two different designs that we had looked at, and for some reason, like I was trying to describe kind of what I had originally thought, and my friend's like, "So you wanted him to look like Shredder?" And I was like, "No, not at all." Oh, no, never mind. So I was like, "No, he's not. No, just it's like he's gonna look the way we drew him the first time. It's all gonna be good." But it was just kind of funny. Once it was pointed out to me how my idea was kind of Shredder like, I was like, "Oh no, no, no! I do not want that." It's one of those things like you talk about where you have a tattoo customer who wants something that you as the artist know, no, you don't.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You can want that all you want, buddy, but that's not happening.
Well, there's some things that I recommend against, but I always give them the reasons.
Right.
And there's some things that are just not possible. That's all.
Right.
It's finding the difference between them, finding a happy medium.
What are the gutters for?
Separate the panels.
But that's it. It's the only reason why.
Well, you got to remember when this first started, they were working on fish crank, and colors would bleed. So now they're not bleeding nowadays, but hard thing is trying to decide what to keep in all the information.
Well, yeah.
Because if you add too much, kind of ruin the softness.
So I don't know if you remember me talking about Brand. I think it was Brandon Sanderson was discussing. Yeah, he was on a panel. And they were discussing kind of not hard and soft magic systems, but um, like I think they called it like inherited magic versus not inherited, which I think if you have I think inherited is probably a good term, but I think the I think acquired magic might be a better term. And I think a really good example of those would be Superman is inherent. They say it's not magic, but basically it's magic. He, he's an example of inherited magic. But Green Lantern is an example of acquired magic. So, I think that shows you can have both systems in one world. But B, if you start looking at, because Brandon Sanderson had a problem with inherited magic systems because it inevitably leads to someone's pointing out, oh, you mean you have a race of people who are just better than others? That doesn't sound kind of racist.
Oh,
So, what?
I said that garbage, that racist garbage, showing its ugly fucking head.
Yeah. So acquired magic systems, I think, are kind of an interesting place to go, especially when you start thinking about, okay, is everyone going to be able to, if anyone can do this, why isn't everybody doing it? So you have to think about that kind of rule. What are the limits? Which you generally have to think about for uh, good fantasy anyway. I mean, you're gonna have to know your rules, but it's a way of, I think there's coming up with a way of acquiring magic that is restrictive, so you can have your special people without it being based on genetics. So, a limited supply, I suppose, is the easiest way of saying that. And then, what all it can do then, and what the costs are, I don't know. I think it's a more interesting concept than soft versus hard magic. I think it's better to think of it as inherited or acquired. And, what are the rules for that? I don't know. I just think it's a more interesting discussion.
I think it's pretty much the same discussion.
Aaron asked, would the force be acquired or inherited? I think we've seen both. I think technically it's inherited because you have the genetic factor. Yeah, you're taught how to use it, but according to the prequels, that midichlorian count, and even the D plus stuff, leading into the sequels, they talk about the cloning process. The difficulty there was getting a clone to have the midichlorians. So I think it all points more towards inherited. Now, if you could change that, for example, if Palpatine's cloning experiments meant that he could make midichlorians at will and he could just inject you, then you basically have Bioshock, but with the Force. And
oh, I can't wait till you see that thing with Wilson Scott Clark.
Okay, why?
Well, because he gives his opinion on the Force.
Oh, does he not like it? Is it one of those? It's either him or Wolverton that didn't like it because I forget. It had something to do with. It was more like Hindu or Buddhist based or something.
No, I got nothing to do with that.
Okay.
At least I didn't hear anything about that anyway.
Okay. Aaron, I was actually in Syracuse last night. There was a T-ball game I was requested to be at. Got to watch my nephew tag two people out. It was pretty cool. Um, I don't know if they're the new fields. I mean, it's over behind the high school there, so they weren't there when I was in school or when I lived in Syracuse. So they're adding on to my old high school too. Rich is enthralled. He's like, I have no idea what you guys are talking about. I'm T-ball.
No, I'm not invested in what you guys are talking about, so.
Sorry. Yeah, I had made plans with a friend of mine because I was like, oh, Monday, I'm not doing anything on Monday. I should be able to, whatever. And I got home like maybe 3 minutes before my wife got home from work. And she's like, all right, let's go. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like, yeah, we have to go up to Syracuse to watch Rhett play t-ball. I was like, oh, okay. Which, it's not a big deal. I mean, it's not like I have to go to work or anything. And I like to see my nephew and my brother-in-law and his wife. That was all good, but it's kind of, I wanted to write after I got home. I was like, what? No, I was gonna do my writing now. But whatever.
So I got to thinking about it, and I was like, if she's blowing this powder in his face,
Yeah.
and it changes him on contact, then she should probably be wearing gloves.
Okay. That makes sense to me.
It did to me.
I will approve.
Boy, I'm glad you approved.
Yeah, I'm sure you were worried.
Remember when I was talking about how we are like code directors and
Yeah.
like there's certain divisions that go to each of us, but there are certain ones we share. Like I pretty much got stuck with costume designer. So
Hey, I can provide more details. I just don't care. I mean, that's not quite right. It's one of those things where most,
you don't have much invested in them.
yeah, because I don't need to. Like I'm like, eh,
Right.
like if there's something I'm desperate to, I'll ask you to look at. Like with Shiv, like I pointed stuff out, and then we went way too far in the other direction, and said, no, let's just go back to that what you had. It's fine. But I the character design that you're doing right now, it's like I put in stuff that I thought a reader might kind of want, but it wasn't anything that I was like. It's no deeper symbolism or anything on this part. It's like, yeah, okay. So, but I can put more stuff in. I don't want you to feel like I'm
like I'm the cinematographer. I'm the fucking costume designer for the most part. Like I tried to actually include you especially when it came to Shiv, because he was your creation.
right.
But all you said for this one is she's wearing a cloak.
Yep.
You didn't say gloves, but then I started thinking about it. Like the original, like in the layouts, she doesn't have gloves. But I got to thinking about it, and I was like, well, if it's a contact thing, it would be like a roll your eyes thing if she just happened to be immune to it. But her shtick right now is that she's mysterious and cute, right?
Right.
few days ago, our oldest son asked me what I want for Father's Day.
Yeah.
And at the time, I'm like, no, not really anything. I mean, it's weird, isn't it? Like, but I guess I got to an age where I'm looking at things, and to me, it's either too expensive.
Right.
Like it's too expensive for me, so if it's too expensive for me, then it's probably too expensive for my kids.
Right.
Now, I qualify that with my kids are not children. they're adults, except for, Eli is technically an adult, but he'll never really be an adult again. So I'm thinking, like, if I can't afford to buy it, then asking you for it would be just kind of stupid. And I was like a couple of days later, I was like, shit, I do know something. But I don't think I'm going to get it. I told them what it was, but like I said there's a couple of books that I'd like to get that directly, that are directly what I'm working on. Like it would help with what I'm working on. Meaning, the oh. I keep getting it and losing it before I can get it out of my mouth. I know a way. I know a way to get the answer.
Thank you.
So I got a wish list that I made public, right?
Okay.
Just for the storyboards.
Okay.
And there's a couple of storyboard books that have been recommended to me. One of them I showed you, that was the Star Wars original trilogy storyboard.
Okay.
The Blade Runner storyboards. And it's a book called Movie Storyboards, The Art of Visualizing Screenplays, but there are multiple storyboards in it. And I think that would be a benefit. And there's like that Sid Mead book, and all of them are, roughly within the $30 to $45 range. But in reality, the kid's probably not wanting to spend over $20. My wife found this pillow that she was talking about that is very thoughtful, you know what I mean? It's, because I have the condition that I have. From multiple surgeries.
Right.
But I'm like, it's very thoughtful, but what I really want is, it's funny though, when you ask somebody what they want for something like that, they're like, always get dumbfounded, right?
Right.
I guess it doesn't matter who you are. Like, I got dumbfounded. I'm like, huh? I know I want something. Default to Ralphie. I guess I just take some Tinker Toys.
There's There was a comedian by the name of Ralphie May. He's dead now, I believe. But he's got a bit about what you can give every man for his for whatever present giving situation you're in. And I mean, it's not from
trouble.
Well, it's like it's supposed to be from wives though. So when you said, I guess I'll resort to Ralphie, and
you made a connection that I didn't.
Yeah, I just again Ralphie just, but then I mean there's a guy. His name was Ralphie May. That's just and my wife and I have watched that bit together, and so it's one of those kind of inside jokes. Like every time my wife asks me about what do you want for your birthday, you know what I want? 2 things.
Is it one of those skip things?
Oh, it's just one of them is the shut up. And the other one is you can't do that and accomplish it. So it's kind of contradictory. Sorry. I'm amusing myself.
Oh.
I'm amusing myself.
Well, the Playboy Unabridged Dictionary says that abusing yourself is a pound of flesh.
Nice. It's just always good to, reference a joke and then have to explain the joke without explaining the joke. Oh, that's always fun. That's good entertainment.
Well, yeah, like explaining a joke is kind of cuts the funny out of it sometimes.
Oh, that's okay, because I enjoyed myself. That's all that really matters.
Did you look at that actual picture? Did you go to the link?
The thing you sent me today?
The one that you asked if you think that's scalable.
Right, the bucket thing?
Yeah, but did you actually go to the bucket?
Yeah.
Well, see, that's kind of what I was talking about, like not generating. I've seen different videos where they do something like that on a stream like that, like water stream, not live stream for anybody listening.
Yeah, I never said they didn't have any. I just said something.
No. I was trying to elucidate because I think you kept getting a bigger picture than I was intending, and I was trying to say that people are gonna create these little things for their own houses here and there. You know what I mean? They're not gonna necessarily generate enough power for a block or a fucking city, but I was thinking they could. It's similar to a generator,
Yeah, except that's not gonna. I guarantee that did not generate enough power to run your house. A fan has not got a lot.
No, but a generator doesn't either. Generator, you can pick 3 things. You can pick like maybe the refrigerator, a light, or something like that. You're not going to run the entire house on the generator unless it's a big generator. And that's what I'm talking about. I wasn't talking about a big generator. I was talking about small things that people could maybe have a bedroom light or run a refrigerator or a microwave or whatever.
Okay.
Whatever it was, but like I was just picturing I was trying to imagine, you know what I mean,
Uh-huh.
as well as what you were talking about, and I'm trying to imagine if we went from something where we already had these conveniences, we would try to salvage some of them. Just people are like that. And I'm, not trying to get into an argument or anything, but like that's what my thinking was. It wasn't there's going to be a farm powered on this one little bucket generator or whatever. It was, these little ramshackle houses might have a light to read by, or a fan going or something like that.
Well,
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Like you aren't taking it like that, and I guess I was not able to explain it properly. So when I saw that, I thought I would link it.
okay.
I was looking for something else. And, just messaged Amanda. She was showing me something she was talking about husbands are like this one guy filmed his wife with this toy, not an adult toy, but it's like a thing that goes around your ankle and like a rubber ball and cane sort of, but you swing it around your leg and hop it on with the other side.
Uh-huh.
So one leg swings it around, the other one hops. I can't remember what it's called, but the guy's like, "Oh, you guys, you get this for your wife? You're welcome." And his wife's hopping, and their boobs are just going. And I'm like, "Shit, you knock yourself out." Yeah, 2 black eyes. But he was all like, I'm on season 3 of this show. Hell, was that called? What? It's Skip It. That's what it is.
Oh, I know. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I couldn't think of the name, so.
One of those toys designed to trick you into exercising.
Well, it's kind of like the Hudsucker Proxy, except for smaller. And there's considerably more boob bouncing.
Yeah.
With that whole Ralphie subject, the way that you put it, I was like, that's what my first thought was. Because I don't know the bits, so.
You know what? Please don't slam in the door. You can, right? No. You might be wearing that thing. Yeah, cat. Come on, Paul. Nice.
It's the dancing segment.
And I'm kind of back.
Yep.
Kind of.
Okay.
So did you check out that GI Joe thing I sent you?
I mean, beyond what I already did when you sent it to me.
I don't know.
No, not anything more than what we talked about last time.
Well, you know how to kill a conversation quick.
Yeah, I did that really well. So, speaking of GI Joe, to some degree, uh, GI Joe was there to help sell toys, right?
Right? Like He-Man.
Yeah, and now it like they keep trying to kind of restart the franchise, but it never seems to be successful. But I wonder if that's the problem, is that because it relied on, or it was a vehicle through which to sell toys, and nowadays kids don't play with a lot of toys. They play with, it's mostly video games.
Well, they could do video games.
That's true. Ooh, kind of like a Black Ops type GI Joe game.
I think they already had a GI Joe fighting game, didn't they?
Oh no, but I'm saying like
Oh no, I'm not saying that that's what you're saying. I'm just saying I think they had a kind of a Mortal Kombat-ish.
well, I'm just saying like a first
I don't
person.
keep up on either one, so that's pretty hard.
Yeah, a first person shooter with a GI Joe storyline. That could be pretty cool. I'd play that.
I think the other deal is, or the real deal is, that G.I. Joe's not selling to kids anymore because there's no cartoons that I know of. But it sells to adults because it plays on your childhood. Have you read any uh, I don't know why I can't think and work at the same time these days. Have you read any Preston and Child?
Uh, that's the child.
Preston and Child. They're a duo. They wrote Relic. They made a movie of Relic.
I guess not.
I just read an advanced reader's copy of their newest one. It's called Angel of Vengeance. I guess I should have looked a little bit closer at the title. Ostensibly, it's kind of a caper, which is right up your alley. It's actually a time travel book too. So I think that they tried to escape from the time travel cliches by having their past literally being in a different dimension.
Okay.
But it's set up like a um, set up like a kind of Ocean's 11 type book, except for they're going into the past and
What was the relic about? And please don't tell me the relic.
well, I'd have to look at it again because it's been like 20 years, maybe more.
Because that seems.
Yeah, Relic as a book was put out in '96.
Huh.
The movie was put out in '97.
I don't know why, but it sounds.
Penelope Ann Miller, Tom Sizemore, Linda Hunt.
I'm just trying to figure out. Because I feel like I've read something. Preston Child, but I can't put my finger on it.
I think that's the first one in the series that I just finished one of. Yeah. But I'm not sure because I haven't read the book. I had the book. I'm pretty sure Amanda read it and liked it, but she long since forgot what it is. Yep. It's a Pendergast book, and that's what this last one was too, so it's in that series. But it goes back in time to the 1880s, late 1880s, so it has two things that you pretty much like. It's got that kind of setup where they're they're going to pull some shit, and it's almost almost steampunk.
Yeah, I don't know why, because steampunk tends to have a heavy. Like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, technically, Wizard of Oz is steampunk too, but for the most part, when people think of steampunk, it tends to be more British in setting. And I'm like, but at the same time, the stuff that was going on in the Wild West is the same time period, or at least they overlap.
Yeah, well,
So,
this one takes place in New York, so I mean, it's not British per se, but it's people from the future that have some knowledge of the past, going back manipulating the past. Anyway, I think it's something that you might like because it also puts a couple of elements together that you like.
okay.
As usual, not a sponsor.
But it could be.
But it should be. I think between that and the ices, they give a lot of free advertising on this show, right?
That my Diet Dr. Pepper. And I would have been eating Albanese gummy bears, but we didn't have any tonight. Very distraught. So I went with the sweet tart gummies. Which I just now noticed are called fruity splits.
Hey, you're putting them in your mouth.
These always taste better, like a month right after school. June. June is the best month for these. There it is. Delicious.
I've been putting an inordinate amount of thought into to these couple of panels, really. I'm probably working much harder than I have to, especially for the pay. But like, it was driving me nuts trying to figure out how I'm going to do the powder.
Yeah.
And then I figured it out. It all came to me at once. I'm going to do what John Malin hates the most. I'm going to draw partial faces back here. And then I'm going to take some fucking weight holding paint and fucking splatter it. And it's going to look like she's blowing fucking white powder.
Okay.
Well, apparently John Malin hates that black splatter stuff. Like when somebody puts things on a toothbrush and licks it.
Yeah.
I don't. I think it's not easy to do, and maybe that's kind of why he hates it. But,
Hold on a second. I gotta mute myself.
bless you. Oh.
Anyway, sorry. My wife was shutting me in my cell.
Yeah, well, when you first said that, I was like, "What you?" Figured you were sneezing, and I looked up and I was like, "Oh, okay, never mind."
Yeah, she's in her pajamas, which
Still bless you, but just not for sneezing.
Thanks. She was in her pajamas and she wanted to close off the office area. And she's like, "Am I gonna be on camera?" I don't know. I don't think so. So, and it's not like she hasn't gone to Walmart in her pajamas before because
Right.
we are.
I don't do that shit,
My
but
son,
everybody else I know does.
my son gets really, really nervous about that kind of stuff. So I'm just like, "Hey, just let it go. Who cares?" I mean, I'm not going. Trust me, I'm not going in my pajamas. But
Well, I wouldn't do that because I guess I'm old fashioned and I feel like there's a reason that you get dressed to go out, It's really slovenly not to. I'm not judging some other person, I'm just judging myself on that.
Yeah.
Like pretty soon we're not gonna have a reason to get up at all.
Okay.
It's gonna be like fucking Wally. Nobody needs to get up. Nobody needs to do anything. Alexa.
The other day we were playing Family Feud on the. I think it's on Switch. Yeah, it's on Switch.
You know I loves Family Feud. He loves Steve Harvey.
Well, so we're playing this game, and the topic is things a millionaire would spend $1 million on, or something like that. And I mean, my first thought was property, or mansions, or whatever. But as we're going through we're running out of guesses. I just kept saying, "Hookers and blow, hookers and blow," because I know that it's not going to be one of their answers, but it's a real answer. No. And I'm not saying I would spend that money on that. I'm just simply saying.
Oh, you don't have to qualify that. We're not your wife.
Well, it's right there. And she just got me popped. So, or as some people call it, a soda.
Some people call it a soda pop. Some people call it a carbonated beverage.
Yeah.
Everyone in the South calls it a Coke.
Yeah.
No matter what it is. That took me some getting used to. What kind of Coke you want? What?
Now don't get me wrong. Like Coke and Pepsi do not taste the same.
No, they don't.
But
Coke has a higher acid content.
okay. But I'm saying
it's a fact, that's all.
Okay. But I've never gone somewhere and if you're at a restaurant and what do you want to drink? Oh, the Coke. Well, is Pepsi okay? Yeah. Like I've never where you go somewhere, I'd like a Pepsi. Is Coke okay? Yeah. Like they're close enough. Like I don't know. I feel like it's incredibly picky for someone to to actually throw a fit if your restaurant, gave you a Pepsi instead of a Coke.
Okay, I wouldn't throw a fit, but I don't like Diet Coke.
Ugh. I didn't say anything about diet stuff because diet stuff is wildly different.
That's all we drink pretty much is diet stuff. So,
No.
But when it comes to diet, we don't have. If they have Diet Dr Pepper, we like that. But
Yes.
We like the zeros. Like if Coke Zero or Pepsi Zero, that's fine. But I'm not a big fan of Diet Pepsi. I'm not a big fan of Diet Coke. I don't like the aftertaste in either of them, and if that's the only choices, I'll generally get an unsweetened tea and sweeten it myself with, the blue stuff.
Well, again, I wasn't talking about the diet drinks because.
No, I'm just saying, like, if they don't have anything I like,
right.
that was the actual point. If they don't have anything that I like, I'll order, a tea that's unsweetened, or if they don't have that, I'll just get a coffee or something, because I'd rather have that than something I don't like. So if I get something I don't like, I'll take one sip out of it, and I'm paying for a drink I won't drink, So I guess it's all a matter in how you look at it. I wouldn't go off on anyone for it, though. You know what I mean?
I can't imagine even saying.
However, I've got to qualify that because I did have someone serve me a fucking martini once, and I know my martinis. I make them. I mix them the way that they're supposed to be mixed, and there's argument on that too. But someone tried to slip me a vodka martini, which James Bond, that Ian Fleming, created that drink because there was no such thing as a vodka martini because there's not supposed to be. That's an abomination. And he called that a Vesper, remember? At the end of the first book, he decided to name it a Vesper.
Yeah.
So that's Vesper. And somebody tries to serve me a Vesper when I want a martini. I can taste the difference between vodka and gin.
Well, yeah.
So I don't want fucking vodka. I can't stand vodka. So one guy tried to argue with me about it like he was a server, and I was like, no, I know what the fuck tastes like. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not drunk yet. I just ordered one drink, and you brought me the fucking wrong drink. Like, it's too much to ask to get the fucking right drink. You know what I mean? I'm paying an extraordinary amount for the fucking drink in the first place. I could actually buy my own stuff and make it for 3 of them. But yeah, that's the only time I can recall ever.
Yeah, but that's like wildly different stuff.
Well, I mean, like it wasn't the server's fault. It was the fucking bartender's fault. They didn't make it right. They made it the way they wanted to fucking make it, and I was not happy about it. But I had asked him to send the drink back, and he didn't send the drink back. So in the end, I'm pretty much forced to sit with a drink I don't want. And then I went off, and then he took the drink back. But then he just fucking every time we went in that restaurant, he would fucking get a different server to come over to me. And I was like, After a while, I went over to him and I tipped him, and he's like, "What's this for?" And I'm like, "Well, because I was really shitty that one time to you, and it really wasn't your fault." And he's like, "No, I don't know." And I was like, "No, really take it because I understand where your position is, and you don't really have much of a choice." I wasn't really trying to be belligerent, but on the other hand, he shouldn't have been arguing with the customer. He should have just said, "Okay, I'll take it back." right?
Yeah, that's the easiest way to do it.
You'd make it right with him. I guess that was the moral of that story. But you were saying you wouldn't throw a fit over somebody bringing you the wrong drink, and
No.
I kind of did.
Specifically Coke or Pepsi. I just can't see it being that big of a deal.
Yeah, I don't know. They like you said, they are not the same drink. They don't taste the same.
I agree.
And I can see somebody not liking one or the other. Like my uncle Joe's dad used to drive a truck, and he would use Coke to clean the bugs off of his windshield and clean the bugs off of his grill because it would eat them right away. So, needless to say, that wasn't his drink of choice. And then, in the South, everybody looks at you funny if you're drinking a Pepsi. Well, I guess that's not really true. Not everybody looks at you funny, but their first choice is obviously Coke because that's even what they call it.
Right.
No matter what it is, it could be RC Cola, and it's still Coke. As I get older, actually, I like colas less and less. Like Eli drinks a lot of Coke Zero.
Yeah, that is
I'll,
like zero.
I'll grab one once in a while, but for the most part, I'd rather have water or those ices. They don't have any sugar in them, and they taste all right. Sometimes the ices are too sweet for me. Like shit. My 17, 18-year-old self would be looking at me like I was stupid for saying that. Too sweet. What the fuck are you talking about?
That's actually how I feel about Dr. Pepper now. I mean, it's not too sweet, but it's sweeter than the Diet Dr. Pepper. And I prefer the Diet Dr. Pepper over the regular because I don't like it that sweet. So
Yeah, it's the damn taste buds changing as you get older, thing.
I guess.
Shit, Amanda cooked dinner tonight, and it was broccoli casserole, and I love broccoli casserole, and I'm like, there was a time I couldn't even imagine loving broccoli casserole, It's like that old joke. What's the difference between boogers and broccoli?
Kids eat boogers?
You can't get a kid to eat broccoli.
Okay.
It's the same thing, but yeah.
Yeah. Broccoli was one. Although I don't like raw vegetables, I've just decided. I can't think of a single vegetable I'd like to eat raw. So.
I like tomatoes, but they consider them a fruit now, so.
I don't. Yeah. No.
I don't like. Actually, I'd rather have a fresh tomato than a cooked tomato.
Nope.
No.
I can't handle raw tomato.
Tomato sauce is one thing, but cooked tomatoes, yeah. Look like you're eating somebody's abortion.
My parents were pretty good cooks. And they cooked various vegetables, but there were a lot of vegetables they didn't serve that I have learned are delightful. And there are some vegetables, the way they served them growing up, I was like my parents, I had Brussels sprouts growing up because we grew some. But
I like them too.
I like them roasted very, very much.
Yeah, well, I like them cooked, but I like them cooked with. I put Parmesan cheese on them.
Yeah, but I never had parsnips until I was an adult, and Roasted parsnips, I think, are divine. Just absolutely delightful. And just never had them growing up. There are a lot of vegetables. Just I was like, I always thought my parents were pretty good about making sure we ate vegetables, but we grew quite a bit, and then I don't know, just kind of thought it was weird. Oh,
I don't know if I've ever had parsnip per se. Or wait, parsnip. Isn't it's not parsnip? You said. What did you say?
no, I said parsnips.
You talking about the little garnishes on the side of the plate?
No, 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 no. I'm talking about. Yeah. You're thinking of parsley. I'm saying
Oh,
parsnip.
no.
They look like
Okay.
albino carrots.
Oh, so they're tubers.
Sure. It's a root vegetable, so sure.
Yeah. Usually those are tubers, like turnips and.
Related to carrot
Beet.
and parsley.
Huh?
It's related to the carrot and to parsley. Just let you know, they're delightful.
I'm glad you enjoy them.
I don't know. It's just one of those things where I always thought I was a picky eater, and then it just really I've begun to realize, nah, maybe I like different things. Just didn't know what those things were yet. Like parsnips.
I I think that's pretty much covered by what I was saying that your taste buds change as you grow up.
Well, I mean, I guess except for plenty of
There's a lot of stuff I didn't like as a kid. Like I didn't like peas, and I like peas now.
I don't. I will avoid them for a good hunk of my life growing
Why
up.
am I not surprised?
Well, there was a time period, probably up until might have been in high school, maybe not quite that old, but I my parents warned me, and so I was not to eat peas because I was deathly allergic to them as a child.
Oh well, that's a different story.
Well, it's just one of those. So then, I was older.
All peas, like
Peas.
snow peas, snap peas, all peas, or
You just avoided them, but generally we're talking about the little tiny booger ones. And
little tiny booger ones.
oh, the one like the frozen peas that you would put in like shepherd's pie, not snap peas. But anyway, when I got the scratch test done, and for my allergies, and they said I wasn't allergic to them, I tried them. And Aaron, I agree with you. Peas suck. They're just. Ugh.
I don't know. Like I said, when I was a kid, I didn't like peas, but now I don't mind them. Like, maybe it's because I like snap peas and winter peas and sweeter peas like that. So maybe that's what I'm tasting a relationship to now. But
Oh, you like pea soup, Aaron?
I
Okay.
love pea soup. That's not actually what I said.
I would prefer lentil soup over pea soup any day of the week.
Talking about the talk about being hard up for a subject to talk about.
Lentils? Yeah.
What foods we didn't like, but now we do, or now we like better, or whatever. Like, my wife really always hasn't been able to stand mayonnaise. And
I'm
she didn't
sorry.
like sour cream either, but now she likes sour cream on her tacos or whatever. Which is just a matter of changing taste buds. She can't eat shellfish, and we live in Maine. She's allergic to shellfish. So they would have big lobster bakes and clam bakes, and she can't eat them.
Oh. Crab bakes are amazing. My wife doesn't like. She says she doesn't like anything that swims, which is weird because she'll eat canned tuna. I'm like, ugh. But I guess cans don't really swim, but still.
Well, I like tuna. I wasn't big on fish either until I had a heart condition. And you have to eat fish because it's heart healthy food. Or if I wasn't eating fish, I would be having to eat fish oil pills, and those are pretty nasty. So I'd much rather eat the fish. And like I can do tilapia or bass that are flavored like southwestern style.
I just really don't know how to cook fish.
Huh?
Well, I don't know how to cook it really. And I don't know how to I don't know which ones I really like, which is the bad part. So
Do you
I'll
like
occasion-
do you like hot foods?
yeah.
So there's a rub that you can put on fish to make it like Mexican type spicy.
Yeah.
I like that on bass and tilapia. Tilapia is pretty much a no flavor fish. It's like as least flavor as you can get. So you can put any flavoring on there that you want, pretty much. You can do lemons or you can do the hot flavors. I always choose the hot flavors because I like the heat. So.
Aaron said
That's one of the fishes that I don't like. I haven't had salmon yet that I've liked it. I keep trying it every once in a while, but
my mom would make salmon patties every once in a while. They were delightful.
if I would make patties, it would be Krabby Patties. That's what I had for dinner tonight.
Right. My wife would object strongly to that. So.
Well, they're called crab cakes.
Yeah, my wife would still object to that too.
Yeah, I don't care. She's not eating it.
She's not there. Doesn't matter.
She's not eating it, so.
It's kind of funny because there's a seafood place in town, Parker Seafood in Marion. It's amazing. Not a sponsor, but they could be. But
Not unless they send me some.
they have some really good stuff there, and it's kind of fun because my wife will ask to go, which is kind of funny because she doesn't eat anything that used to swim. But they still have like chicken and stuff that she can get that she really likes. And I mean, it's just they have boils you can buy. You can get they have this thing with fries. It's just amazing with all kinds of seafood on it, and it's Cajun seasoned. It's just so delightful.
Eli and I like fish, and we'll both go to Chinese and eat a lot of shrimp.
Yeah.
And he loves the shit out of shrimp and scallops, and I love scallops. Amanda can't eat any of that stuff. But like I always called the cat dim sum.
Yeah.
I refused to call the cat by his name. And Eli didn't know what I was actually calling him until one time I told him I want to try some dim sum Chinese place. And at first he was appalled because he thought it was cat. I didn't want to tell him, that could possibly be sometimes in some places. But then when he figured out what it was, and then he put two and two together that I was calling the cat dim sum, he found it incredibly funny.
My wife's sister is 6 years younger than my wife. I think that's right. So that's a pretty good age difference. And so when we were in high school, my wife was 18, I was 15, and then Rosie's 12. Wasn't always, it's just one of those things. You don't necessarily want to hang out, with a 12-year-old. But we went out one time to this Chinese buffet, and I was so evil because they had scallops on it, and they weren't labeled, but you know what a scallop looks like. But I was pretty certain that Rhonda's sister didn't know what it was. And I was pretty certain she thought it was like potatoes or something. And so I'm just waiting, eating slowly just so I can watch her get to her potatoes. Oh, God, she took a bite of that. And you could tell that was a bit of a surprise. And she got so mad at me. She's like, "You knew? What? What? What are you talking? I thought you knew what those were." Oh, I was a shit.
We had a friend that should have known better because she'd been eating Chinese her whole life.
Yeah.
And we went and got orange meatballs. And she's like, "I'll have some of them." And I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know you like tiger's balls." And she was really naive.
Oh.
So she was all sad, and she was all sad that we were eating tiger's balls.
Help with virility.
And I'm like, yeah. It's some bamboo oysters. Yeah. Sometimes you just got to.
Yeah.
They just scream. And that's what me.
Yep.
Thing is, she wasn't 12. And like I said, she'd been eating at Chinese restaurants all her life. She should have known.
That's funny because now my sister's married to a Vietnamese guy, and we've gone to they live in Oklahoma City, and we visited. And they took us out to this place that had pho, and Tuan, her husband, just rattles it off in Vietnamese what everyone's going to have, and it was amazing pho. Just absolutely amazing pho. And I just looked at it. I was like, "Don't tell me what I'm eating because I don't want to know. Just if it's anything weird, I don't want to know. Just let me enjoy this." And I don't care what he's ordering. He could be ordering eel testicles. I don't care. It was good.
Yeah, well, like one of my friends, one of my best friends, his wife, well, she calls herself his wife. He denies it adamantly, but they've been together long enough. They've got two grown children, so two grown adult kids.
Wow. Yeah.
But she's all like, "Scallop your eyeballs," and I'm like, "Oh yes, savory, delicious, buttery eyeballs." She's like, "There's thousands of eyeballs there. Yes, and they're mighty good things." It's like we were talking about. You were saying, I don't remember which state, but the beauty contest that was won by someone that wasn't so beautiful.
No, I think it's Alabama.
And
There's some man. I don't know.
was telling Amanda about that, and then we were talking about my friend who had an issue and made fun of him until he didn't have an issue with it anymore. I'm like, you don't need to win an award for being pretty when you're not. You need to toughen up and, not have it matter, because if you're a beautiful person inside, people will still know it and still hang out with you. And women, I have this theory that might be a flawed theory, but that no matter how ugly a woman is, she can get laid. There's always some guy willing.
Well, I just think all those other contestants were just used to push an agenda. And I would be a little pissed. But
Well, also, it's vanity. The whole thing is vanity. It's all about vanity.
that's true.
And like I was saying with Amanda, or telling her, I couldn't remember where you had said it was, or I would have looked it up. But like, if I was going to enter Mr. Universe contest, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't enter in the shape I'm in. I would work to get into the shape that I wanted to be in, right?
Right.
Because that's the whole point, is what you have done, what you have achieved. If you just go in there and win an award because, we don't want to body shame you or whatever, you're not really winning an award. You're not winning shit. They're giving you an award because you're too pathetic to win one, really. And it sounds rude, but it's actually also the truth. Like, you don't have to win an award to be a decent person. You don't have to win an award for your body to be pretty, really. I mean, I've known some big women that are pretty. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't make judgments on size, whether that equates to beauty, but they are not necessarily the most physically beautiful woman in the room. And if it's a physically beautiful contest, those women that are entering that contest, they worked for it. So yeah, they do have an absolute right to be pissed. They worked their asses off for it. They threw their meals up. You know what I mean? There's a whole bunch of stuff that they went through to get there, and it's fair of them to not be happy with those results when that person didn't work for it. They just went in and was given, I don't have a whole lot of stance on it because it is a vanity thing, but that is my stance. If you're an athlete If you're a long jumper or if you're a pole vaulter or whatever, you have to train to get there. You don't just walk out and be the best. You have to work for it. And if you don't work for it, if you do walk out and you're just the best for at one time, it's going to be fleeting because somebody else is going to take it away from you anyway. That trained harder. It's just not that moment. And I think people miss that. That they totally disqualify somebody's hard work on the grounds of what? That's the thing. What are the actual grounds that they're making this judgment by? That's saying it's okay to just bat aside all your hard work. Because we want this person to win,
Right.
Did you watch Dr. Phil's interview with Trump?
No.
Oh, you want that? You want to do that. Dr. Phil has been very, very pro-Trump for a while.
Some of what I've been trying to do is, and I'm not very good at doing this, which is stupid, but if it's not going to help out with my writing, some of the stuff, when it comes to the politics, it seems to me like you got two bubbles that don't talk to each other much, and I already know basically which bubble I tend to lean toward, and I don't know. I guess I don't need to see an interview. And I could, but I'm just not sure what I'd get out of it.
You might get something out of it.
I might.
So, where did Dr. Phil get famous from? Do you know?
He was on Oprah.
Yeah, why was he on Oprah?
Oh, I have no idea.
Because he was helping her out legally.
Oh, okay.
A lot of what he was talking about is the stuff Trump can't talk about. So he was kind of trying to put it out there without Trump getting busted for it, Because apparently he's still under a gag order.
Yeah. Which I don't know how that's constitutional at this point, especially.
Well, it's not. I mean, everything about this case is unconstitutional. That's one of the things that Dr. Phil was talking about too, is because he couldn't understand how they're getting away with it pretty much, because on every level they allowed stuff that had nothing to do with the case to be used against Trump. Like the other cases that he lost or whatever, they allowed that to be thrown into questioning. So if Trump took the stand, they would wait for him to have just even the slightest thing wrong, and then they would fucking press charges for perjury. So pretty much everybody was telling him, don't take the stand. And Dr. Phil was like, yeah, if I'd have known, I would have thrown myself under a bus to stop you. But yeah, Oprah was in trouble. She was being sued for the whole beef thing. It was I can't remember what it was. It was the mad cow disease, I think.
Yeah.
And that's actually where she met Dr. Phil, and where he went in with her because he was kind of a jury specialist. You gonna say hi to Brett?
Let's go out. Hold on, right. Oh, you were coming. Where am I down now? Oh, shit. Hey, Brett. Didn't she at?
Bye.
He said, "Hi, Brett. You can cheese it."
Whole thing. Ball.
The whole box.
I could do that.
You better not be eating the whole box. You'll be in the hospital.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
He does too. Like, you can't tell him because he just doesn't want to accept it. We're trying to tell him because we're concerned that he's going to end up back in the hospital because he doesn't want to listen. And brought him a cabinet and put a lock on it so that she could temper the snacks a little bit. But she's upstairs while he's eating the snacks. First piece of comic art that looks real so far, right?
Okay.
Drawing this all with my rough pencil too.
Okay.
It's supposed to be just kind of roughing it in with this pencil and then coming back with this one and cleaning it up. I wanted to do something that actually looked like a panel, so.
Have you seen the trailer for the movie Wolves? It might just be one. I think it's two. I think it's plural.
Is that it? Wolves?
Yeah, Wolves. It's got Brad Pitt and George Clooney in it.
Oh, no, I saw something about it, but George Clooney just.
I know you hate that grin.
What's that?
You hate the grin.
Yeah, he's got that stupid grin on everything. It's not just the grin. I've never really found him to be a great actor.
Yeah.
He is to me overrated. So, like, I definitely understand that people will disagree with me, but not for me. Which sucks because it may be something I would really want to watch, but then I see him and it'll ruin it.
I think he's a good example of someone who plays himself in every single.
Yeah, he's another one. Like I said, there's two schools of that. There's one where you try to be the character and not be you, and then there's one where you be you all the time. And it's like, what would you be doing if you were that character?
I will probably go see it when it comes out.
Yeah, I don't go see many movies, man. I kind of wanted to go see the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes or whatever, Rise of the Kingdom or whatever the hell it is. But I also understand that there's a whole fucking woke agenda shit going on there too. Not surprised, but definitely disappointing.
See, I'm kind of convinced that some of the wokeness is kind of a gatekeeper type of function, where, like, okay, so here's a good example. I've got a concept idea for kind of a Wild West type story, okay? And I had this idea for like a
Wild West or Weird West?
uh,
Doesn't matter, right?
it's technically, I think, Weird West, but it's very, very lightly Weird West. Put that way. But it doesn't really matter because the protagonist I was going to have basically a male and female protagonists, and but the problem is that I kind of wanted them helping out Native Americans. And as soon as you say that, it becomes, oh, it's a white savior trope. Oh, that's terrible. But if you say, all right, I'll make the protagonist some other ethnicity besides white, make him a Native American. Who cares? And then it's like, oh, but then I'm not the right color for the I'm appropriating the culture or something because it's not mine and I'm writing about it. And it's these ways of shutting down people just because, I guess, to weed out competition. But it's there.
You know who Tony Hillerman is?
No. Like,
So, Tony Hillerman, there's a TV show that's on called Dark Winds,
yeah.
and it's based on his books. And Tony Hillerman wrote about reservation cops and murders. And not only he wrote about characters that are not the same race as him. He's a white guy. But he's got a national award, Friend of the Sioux people, because he put them in such a good light. So I really think it's all in how you treat it.
I wish it would be all on how you treat it. But I think there are plenty of people who it won't matter. Which, that's not saying that it would necessarily stop me. But it's one of those things where I can see people being deterred from doing it because they don't want to deal with the hassle. It's just like I've said before. It's like if you're going to have a historical novel, sometime like I don't know, the fewer ethnic characters that you have, the fewer landmines that you have to fall into. So some of this political correctness stuff ends up, I guess, achieving the exact opposite of what it is intended to achieve. You get less representation because the representation is too dangerous to have.
No, I think there's a point where if you're writing a really good story, you're not going to complain if you represent somebody that's not your skin color, especially if you treat the character well, you make them a strong character, and you don't make someone white saving them. Of course, here's what I hate about that. If there's a white person in a film that's predominantly some other ethnicity, he automatically gets the white savior label. Whether that's what his role in it is or not. That's what my problem is that you can't just say, well, he's a smaller character. He's not the main character. He's not doing the saving. So, I don't want to give anything away because I've just finished reviewing that book. But so in that book that I just finished reviewing,
Yeah.
it's called Angel of Vengeance because there's a woman who basically goes back in time to get revenge. I don't know the part of the story that makes her inspired to get revenge because that's an earlier book.
Oh, yeah.
But basically, she is fighting another chick, and it's a knife fight. And then the main guy of the book blows up a room that's right above them. They don't know that he's there, and he doesn't know that they're there. But when he comes downstairs, the woman that's gone after revenge is just had her stomach hacked open by a machete.
Yeah.
And he blows the other chick's head off. Well, that's kind of a male savior position, and I can see that being a valid bitch if you're reading that story, because that whole story was built up. Well, the bad guy part, the villainess, or whatever you want to call her, that's politically correct these days. She spent most of the novel building up the fact that she wanted to kill this woman. And when she really would have killed this woman, the guy steps in. The guy that really didn't even know anything about the other situation. He just steps in and happens to be there in time to save the day. So, it's not going to sound good, and I don't want to give the wrong impression. It's worth a read. It's a fun read. But there are things about it that feel contrived. Like intelligent people that can spot all kinds of machinations, whatever you want to pronounce it. They can spot this all the way through the book, and then when it comes to them, they can't, but I can. From the minute that scene starts developing, I'm already knowing what's going to happen. Yet this super brilliant guy doesn't, or really smart guy doesn't. and there's like two cops in it. One's a good cop and one's a bad cop, and the good cop's pretty much just incompetent. He goes back in time and he's got a 1911, and the other people have got powderless, smokeless. They don't have 1911s yet because it's the 1880s, so they may have a peacemaker or whatever. But yet he's constantly disarmed, outsmarted. He's set to guard somebody, and he doesn't know enough tricks from the 20th century that some cheap-ass tricks from the 18th century, or the 21st century, and 20th century. Yeah, 1800s, 19th century, right? 1800s or 19th century, so he doesn't know enough tricks from the 20th century that the 19th century can pull some stupid ass tricks on him, and he doesn't see it coming, He doesn't suspect any of it. Or there's stuff that happens that he can't believe his eyes. He can't believe that he's seen that. I'm like, yeah, you lived through John Gotti. you lived through fucking the mob wars, and you can't believe that happened? Really?
Right.
So, but the point is, the girl is a badass all the way until she needs to be a badass, and then then along comes her boyfriend who's not a badass until she needs him to be a badass.
So it's nothing. Basically, that's a great example of what not to do.
Yes. But these are people that have been selling books for a long time, so they're trusted. And they can get away with certain stuff that you and I couldn't get away with because they're bestsellers, right?
Right.
And everybody already has a preconceived idea. That it's going to be a good story, and I get to this story, and I'm like, so if I watched it as a movie, it would be an all right movie, right?
Yeah.
There's enough things that happen, events that happen, interesting turns of events to make it okay to watch for a movie, but investing in a book and seeing that there's not a lot of character development, but thinking this is going to be brilliant, this is going to be. And, that's another thing. There's something that really bugged me about it that I'm going to say to you and all three viewers that I didn't say in my review.
Yeah.
The bad guy is on to the people from the future all of a sudden. And he says in one scene outright that somebody told him their plan.
Okay.
It never reveals who told him their plan.
That's the sequel.
Well, they can't be. And the odd thing is that this is a sequel. It's a sequel of a sequel of a sequel.
Oh, okay.
Is this going to be a tangent? Is it going to look like his head's floating in her hand? You said Native American, so this dude just made an appearance. I'd really want to stick a feather in the back of his head, but
No.
I think that would really be over
That would
the
probably be in
top.
poor taste.
Huh?
That might be in poor taste.
Well, I don't think so.
Okay.
Right now, how many Native Americans do you see wearing feathers in the back of their hair and flipping off around Mount Rushmore?
I don't know if I've seen any of that.
I can show you some if you'd like.
No, I don't need to see that.
But the point is that it's proud of the heritage, proud of being an Indian, proud of being a Native American, whatever you want to call it. They call it Indian because it means something different in some of the Native American languages. So, I think I'm not going to put the feather in because even though I'm drawing different ethnicities, I don't want to have that be the point.
Right.
These are survivors, but they're survivors of different ethnicity, right?
Okay.
Well, I mean, if we're going to use that goal of that kind of woke goal,
No.
that's the point, right? Is that everybody is equal. But so what I was trying to say though is that I'm not drawing a tribe. There's different ethnicities in here, and
Yeah.
I don't want to hang a lantern on all of the different ethnicities. I want to have enough different ethnicities for people to look at it and go, it's fairly everybody's represented, you know. And they don't even I'm not even trying to be everybody has to be represented. That's not how I'm trying to be. I guess that's what I'm saying. I don't need to put a feather in his hair to show what he is. But on the other hand, too, I'm not afraid to put a feather in his hair to show what he is also. I'm not doing it to be derisive. And by the way, I am a percentage Native American, so, you know. There is that also. To my knowledge, we have no goals of trying to be insulting towards anyone. Or maybe you do.
Huge Machiavellian goals.
Well, I wouldn't say Machiavellian, but you have some inspiration to show how someone's suggestion would be bad.
That's just the classic science fiction method. You just take whatever is, you just look at what's happening and you extrapolate and just
It's
ask yourself what
funny. Most science fiction writers I know say don't do that
that's okay. Well,
because everybody's doing that.
well, that's fine, but this is the setting, and so what? You should use a tired cliche. Like, no,
Well, that's that either or stuff again.
well, again,
I'm not telling you what you should do at all, but what I'm saying is that I have seen plenty of them, especially when it comes to magazine markets, that they say don't take headlines and extrapolate because everybody's going to be doing that.
okay. Well, I don't think it's the same thing.
Huh?
It's not the same thing.
Hmm. I don't know. I guess I don't see what you see it as then.
Well, because I think most of the people, from what I've read about the people who say, don't take things that you're reading about in science magazines today, don't try to write a science fiction story about it because everybody just read something about that. That's true. But normally that means if they come up with something about, I don't know, they discover a 10th planet, for example, then you don't want to set your story on that 10th planet right away because a lot of people are going to be doing it because it's going to be big news. But most people don't even know what. I've taken things from several different sources and just looked at, okay, if they got that, and what was the worst case scenario? And I pieced together something that would be feasible. A very possible law of unintended consequences type thing. And then I just made it bigger than it probably could be. But I'm not writing a story about a particular issue. I'm simply saying, all right, that's how that particular part of this world is, how it developed. And then the story, let's face it, this story is about, I guess, espionage and cults and general mayhem. So I'm not writing about the environmental stuff. I just happen to know that's where that came
I
from.
thought that was your point.
Nope.
Well, then I've misunderstood all along.
It's just how it got to be that way. just justifying the other choices that I've made. Like, why are they all in relative? Why do you have all these small cities that, why aren't ever just answering those questions and coming up with, and again, looking at it from, I don't want to have a nuclear, the aftermath of a nuclear war because it's been done. A zombie apocalypse been done. All of a viral thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
You want to do a zombie apocalypse, you're on your own.
I tried to think of something kind of like Thundar the Barbarian, which they had one of the dumbest things I've ever heard of, but something that would be that cataclysmic to reshape everything else. So that's what I was trying to come up with for that.
Yep, if you was going to do zombies, you'd be on your own.
Yeah, that's
It didn't take me long to get sick of zombies at all.
my biggest problem with zombies is that you really, on a lot of them at least, you kind of have to really push your suspension of disbelief. Because it's not just that zombies exist. Okay, because that's one suspension right there. But then also that a mindless human being is a threat to one with a brain. Like, it's not our physicality that ever made human beings dangerous. It was our brains. You take away the brains, we're pathetic. And I just.
Well, it's not pitting one brain against a no brain. It's that no brain has got a bite. And that's a super infectious bite. So I am not in any way defending zombie fiction because I've been worn out of zombie fiction for so long it's not even funny. I wrote a zombie story.
Yeah.
And that was my way of dealing with how you could make it semi-believable.
Okay.
Well, because in my story, it takes place from a zombie's point of view. And the trick is that when he eats brains, it keeps him smart. And obviously it's fantasy, it's not supposed to be science fiction, but there was a trade-off that you get something for eating the brains, and because he's smart, it torments him that he has to eat brains to be smart. was pretty much my way of dealing with it. The only other way that I've seen that's believable to me is like the Serpent and the Rainbow, where it's not really zombies; they're drugged to look like they're dead, but when they come back, they've got some amount of brain damage. All this work to spatter white over it.
Think of it like a date.
Nope. See, I haven't had a really great dating experience. Ugh. And that's pretty much it for tonight.
Oh, not that I am glad it's over, but I have been wanting to. I've been wanting to see a Man About a Dog for like 30 minutes. I've been trying to wait. Oh. Anyway.
So you're rewarded then.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so everyone that hung out, liked, followed, subscribed, commented.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for being around. Thanks for helping make this possible. Good night. God bless. Much love.
Good night, guys. Peace out.